Welcome to the channel, everybody. In today's video, we're focusing on my journey with HackMotion. Now, HackMotion has been with me from the beginning of this season, and I'm trying to figure out if there's ways in which I can improve my golf swing by using HackMotion. And I'll send you to a little link at the end of this video, which will take you on to the beginning of my journey, which was focusing on my full swing. However, today we're talking about pitching of the golf ball. Now, most players do struggle from 100 yards in, which is where we play the majority of our golf shots when we're out on the golf course. And I'm certainly one of those players.
Oh no, I've wafted it. Oh no. Absolute wafter.
And as you can see from that particular shot that I've just played there, my miss with a wedge has been a little bit out to the right, a little bit wafty, and I'm working so hard to try and control the club face and use my rotation in the body that I feel like I'm missing so many shots out on the golf course. Definitely missing it to the right, getting very heavy with my strike, so taking plenty of divots, and actually just not getting up and down from around 70 yards, which is the shot that I've picked for us today. So the practice that I'm doing today with this 70-yard shot is kind of benchmarking. I'm working against a PGA Tour player to see what they do with a 56-degree wedge from 70 yards, and then I'm going to have a little look at what I'm going to do with a 56-degree from 70 yards. So I've just been hitting away a few shots here today, and this is 70 to 75 yards, and I've got myself set up with HackMotion, and I'm just trying to get a reading of how my wrists are working through, let's say, the golf swing, but also kind of from a certain position just before impact and then what happens just after impact. And the numbers are really quite interesting. Diving into the details of what HackMotion is actually giving me, we're talking about things like rotation. And when I talk about rotation, I'm not always talking about the rotation of, let's say, the body, which is kind of what I would be thinking about, certainly in the main golf swing and getting my body out of my own way. But also when it comes to pitching, we're talking about the rotation and the release of the club down through impact. And there's some key sort of areas of the golf swing that we're going to sort of refer to in this particular video, and that is P6, which is position 6, which is when I start to bring that club down to parallel to the floor on the way down. P7 is what I would be, let's say, at impact, and then P8 is where I would be, let's say, post impact. And that's where HackMotion is trying to measure what I'm doing with this particular shot from 70 yards. And what's interesting is when we talk about ulnar deviation and flexion and extension, I'm seeing some really good consistencies with it. However, if I wanted to just dive a little bit deeper, I'm looking at how I rotate with this particular club through those P6 all the way through from P7 to P8. And for me personally, I've worked so hard on this rotation through the ball, and almost like a feeling of like hinging the club on the way back and then holding that hinge but rotating the body and then pulling through to my left hand side as I kind of come through. That's been a sensation that I've tried to kind of focus on, and the idea of that is to try and really manage the club face. But the problem I get with that is that if I get under pressure and I don't rotate hard enough through the shot, I generally leave everything out to the right-hand side. Also under pressure, I'll lean into the shot. So less rotation and more kind of leaning gets that club to sort of steepen out and really dig into the ground, which again, leaves it out to the right, which then is a little bit what I call wafty. So it doesn't actually make its distance. So if I'm looking at 70 yards, I'll probably go 55 yards. And that's because the club face is wide open. The ball just sort of pops up out to the right-hand side, and we see results like that on all the vlogs that I do. Now, the reason I've done this is because I've focused so hard in the main swing of just trying to keep control of those hands and wrists through impact and throughout my swing, that actually it's really started to affect how I'm playing shots from around the sort of 75 to all the way down to 50 yards. And that is really the scoring zone, isn't it? At the end of the day, if we can get up and down a little bit more from that yardage, we're going to start to shoot lower scores. So the numbers that we're seeing here are -10 when it comes to under rotation on the actual club as it kind of works down into the P6 to P7 position. So I'm basically not rotating that club head enough, so I'm not squaring that face up enough as I come through just before impact and then into impact, which indicates that I'm gonna leak that ball out to the right hand side, or I've got to do something with my body to make sure I square that face up. So definitely a feeling of trying to release that club or get that club to release down into impact a little bit quicker. The other thing that I've noticed as a bad result, should we say, is that I will tend to, if I hit one well, come out really, really low. And actually what I want is that ball to sort of just launch up in the air. Now, interestingly, as I come through, it's telling me that I'm only -3. So I'm actually in a pretty good position when I come through from impact up to what we call P8, which is after impact through there. But what it is saying is that I'm very slow in that release of that club head coming through. So what I'm going to get the sense of doing this time is actually get a little bit more of a feeling of almost flicking. So I'm going to almost get the sense of releasing that club head down. So I'm getting the club head to catch up with my hands, not dissimilar to what I would get with a driver, and then release the club through on towards my target. And let's see if we can see a slightly different result from this. Well, instantly the flight, the height is absolutely spot on. I'm getting that ball to launch up really quite nicely. So therefore my descent angle into green is going to definitely be a little bit steeper and get that ball to stop just a little bit quicker. And the numbers, as you can see, a real improvement. I'm back down now to -1 when it comes to the benchmark that I'm looking for between P6 to P7. So coming down into impact, I'm now pretty much there or thereabouts. I mean, that's basically a tick as far as I'm concerned. However, when I get through to P7, so impact and then through, I'm now almost over rotating. So I've almost overdone it a fraction as I've kind of come through, certainly after impact as well. But where I was doing this all a little bit too slow, I'm down now to -107. So I've dropped down nearly 200 in that side of things, which I think actually from somebody that's trying to get that release a little bit more and a little bit earlier, this is definitely a move in the right direction. And my strike has improved, so less divot. My ball is going towards my target just that little bit easier, and I'm pretty much getting it to my target. Instant feedback, feel to reel, -150. So again, it's just this balance point of trying to get that release down into the ball. And to be honest with you, I mean, going from where I was at like 400 and 300, I've really sped it up. My divots have got a lot shallower, and I just feel like the strike has improved. That's the big thing for me, is if you can get strike to really feel like you're just nipping it off the top of the surface and getting that control and seeing that ball flight just pop up nicely in the air, I feel like it's such a win. But this is such an amazing difference for me as a feel anyway, more so than anything else. That was really good. Yeah, nice. -99. We're getting there. So I think when it comes to, you know, each individual, I think we've all got something slightly different to work on. And this is just something for me to work on. And it might not be the same as everybody else. However, what I love about using this system, and I've been using this system now for some time because I've been focusing on my own swing, is that it just gives me instant feedback. So when I do come up to this practice ground or onto a driving range with a bucket of balls, I can get a feeling of something and then something telling me what I'm doing right or what I'm doing wrong. And then you can put that into your next golf swing and your next golf swing. And it's almost like having a pro sat on your shoulder, giving you the instant feedback that you're looking for from every lesson that you have. I think this HackMotion system is working really quite nicely for me from a feel to reel perspective. And I'd be interested to hear what you think. Are you working with HackMotion yourself? Is it helping your game? And are you doing something similar to what I'm doing? If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you again on the next video, which is my journey using this system.